everyone, and welcome to Meow Mix, the Carolina Panthers podcast. My name is Steven,
My name is Jerry.
and it is week 4
Four.
already,
I mean, it feels like the season started last week, right?
right?
I mean, that's
Panthers 1-0 heading into week 2.
yeah, that's the way I'm going with it. Red Rifle
Yeah,
attack.
it definitely it definitely does feel sort of like a reset, right? I
Yeah,
mean, it definitely feels like this is a completely different the fan base is different, the reporters are reporting different things. Like it just nationally people are talking about us a lot differently. It just like a very, very different. Feels like a different team,
it really
honestly.
does. It feels like this was a shot of adrenaline into the heart that this team and fan base desperately needed. Now, let's hope it continues to pump through the veins because
Yeah.
they got a big one coming up this weekend with the Cincinnati Bengals. Woo!
Cincinnati Bengal Tigers coming to Charlotte. Yeah, 0-3. So these guys are hungry.
Very
They
hungry.
they I mean, this is a team that was expected to, contend for a Super Bowl potentially. Like this is a team that has expectations.
And they have talent. It's not like they
Oh
are
yeah.
looking horrible. It's just
Yeah.
they're getting
Offensively, they're in good shape. I feel
yeah.
like, uh, as long as Burrow can stay healthy. But defensively, I think there's some issues there. But we'll talk about it. We'll talk about the matchups here in a bit. But we're gonna kick off the podcast here with a bit of news, and there's a bit.
Yeah, there was quite a bit. I almost wanted to see if we wanted to do a special podcast on Tuesday when this news hit.
just news.
Wide receiver Adam Thielen and safety Jordan Fuller are placed on IR. Will miss at least 4 weeks before they come around again. That's heartbreaking.
That's
Both
a
playing well.
that's a
And
big. Those are two big losses. I
mm-hmm.
mean, Fuller, you might not you specifically, but you, the listener, may not understand just how important he has been to the defense. He's been very, very good.
Mm-hmm.
And then Thielen is a massive, massive loss. He's not the fastest guy on the field, but he runs crisp routes. You know where he's going to be at all times. He's got great hands, and he can still beat you. I mean, we saw it in last week. Like he can still beat defenders to the ball.
Yeah, I mean he is what he is. He's not that premier number one guy, but he is that gritty guy that you want on your team. You know where what he's gonna give you. You know where he's gonna be. You know he's gonna give all his all. And
100%. Yep.
I mean he had 1,000 yards last year. I mean let's
Yeah. It's a huge loss. It's a big safety valve almost for Andy Dalton is just gonna be gone. And you hope that Mingo or Leggett can step up and kind of be that number 2 guy. But so far, we just haven't seen a lot to make me confident that either one of them is gonna be able to be consistently, even 80% of what Thielen can be.
one of them needs to step up. Somebody.
Yeah.
Continuing on with our notes. I mean Jalen Coker was elevated to the regular squad. So all you cokeheads out there, go ahead and keep cheering for him. Maybe he does something. I mean,
All right, so we've got Deontay Johnson,
mm-hmm.
Mingo, Leggett, David Moore, Coker. Who am I
Coker.
forgetting? I'm not forgetting anybody, right? That's it
Yeah, I think that is it. I'm trying to remember.
in
Like,
terms of wide receivers. I don't have the depth chart in front of me, but I know, I think TMJ was that other guy, and he's in San Francisco.
yeah, Amir, I think he was let go too.
Yeah, Miro's gone. So yeah,
So,
it's a thin group at this point. One if Leggett or Mingo or God forbid Deontay Johnson, who you know
yeah.
one of those goes down, I mean we're in major trouble. But I, good opportunity, right? Great opportunity for Mingo, Leggett, Coker, even. Like there's a huge opportunity for one of
Yeah.
those guys to establish themselves because next year Thielen may not be here.
I 100% agree with that. I think Liget or Mingo should step up in this type of scenario. And honestly, Liget looked pretty promising
Hmm.
last week with, Andy Dalton. And that's one good thing I will say with Thielen going out is with Andy Dalton, he spread the ball around
Yeah.
very well. So it wasn't like, yes, Deontay had a career day, but it wasn't Deontay. It was,
It felt
hey,
like the
he's open.
appropriate amount, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
And with the running backs being more involved in the passing game with Andy Dalton, that's a positive. So hopefully the loss won't be felt, as badly as potentially it could, but certainly would have been with Bryce, right? Like that was Bryce's guy
yeah.
by far. So unfortunate news, and I hate that for Adam Thielen, especially considering like you finally get the quarterback in there, and now he's got to sit out for at least a month. So
Yeah.
that's a bummer.
I mean, this team just it feels so bad.
It's
Like we were
it's just a
riding
roller
such a
coaster.
high.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
They were riding a high on that win, that dominating game, and then Adam Thielen, Jordan Fuller, like it just felt like oh
yeah. Those are two big hits.
yeah
And just to round out the roster talk here, as part of this whole shakeup, Echo Leota was released from the practice squad, which is a bummer. Like I don't quite understand why he doesn't get a shot here
I
on the
don't
main
either.
roster. Like honestly, I mean, he popped so well in preseason. He even, I think, in the didn't he play? He played one regular
He
season
played the
game, right? And
first
he,
week,
yeah, and he
and
had a pretty decent game.
he had the only sack that game.
Yeah, like what are they not seeing from him? Consistency, maybe.
Maybe I don't understand it. I mean I mean, again, we don't see the practice, but I mean, it's on the field when he's there.
Hmm.
Like what? Like I just don't get it.
Yeah, I don't get it either. Unfortunate for him, but hopefully he'll catch on somewhere or find his way back.
Yeah.
Ideally.
I think he'll probably fight his way back. He seems to be that guy that the team wants around, but just doesn't really want to give him a chance. I hate saying it like that, but I haven't seen anything that shows that he doesn't deserve to be on this team.
No, and the opposite, in fact. I mean, everything we've seen,
Mm-hmm.
whether it be preseason games or the run regular season game that he was in, he looked pretty good. He certainly didn't look any worse than some of the other guys that they're throwing out there.
Exactly. I think that's maybe my biggest problem is we have no pass rush, and at least he
Hmm.
showed a glimmer of pass rushing ability. Even
You
if
would
you
think,
use him on third and long onlys. I mean,
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
he
I
offers
I don't
something.
understand it. I don't understand it, but I'm not a football coach, and I'm not an evaluator of talent to the level that these guys are. So hopefully they're making the right decision here. But what else we got?
Safety Damani Richardson and Russ Yeast were promoted to the active roster. I didn't know how they got a second one, but spot open, but they did. I mean,
Yeah. Um, okay.
I,
I
yeah.
don't know I don't really know too much about those guys. So
Some serious news. Damian Lewis tore his UCL, um, and will miss this game most likely. And
probably, probably.
I said
Now,
most likely.
now, UCL for a quarterback is surgery and an IR stent and a lot of other things because it's mainly a lifting your arm above your head type of thing. For Damian Lewis, maybe not as devastating an injury. So he's saying that he would like to play this week. He's saying that he doesn't feel like he's going to miss a lot of time. I have a feeling he probably will miss this week, like you said, just because it is, it's an injury. It is painful and it does affect his range of motion for sure.
Yeah,
But hopefully it'll be something he can manage moving
yeah.
forward. Get a shot of cortisone or whatever before the games.
I'm all for erring on the side of caution. You don't want to put Damian Lewis out there and then he can't do what he has done, and all of a sudden Andy Dalton's going down. We're looking at Bryce Young, who just got benched 1 week ago and is probably not mentally ready to come back in. So,
Well, you got Zavala, I guess, is going to be the guy, right, to step in.
yeah,
So
that's who Canales said, and he seemed very confident in him. But look at what we've seen from Icky compared to last year. I mean, Icky looks night and day better.
yeah, and we mentioned it in some of the preseason games that we saw. Like Zavala does look better.
Mm-hmm.
He can't look much worse. I mean, he had a 0 in a game last year. Like he can't look much worse. But I'm wondering why Brady Christensen isn't a potential option, or are they maybe thinking he's more center slash tackle insurance? Maybe I don't know.
I don't know. Fingers
But
crossed they know. I mean,
yeah, I mean, hopefully, I guess he'll be playing what left guard, I guess. So hopefully,
he's
man,
got familiarity with Icky on that left side anyway.
he
It's just
has
at college.
familiarity. Unfortunately, it's not much positive history between those two. I'm hoping that Damian Lewis wasn't one of the reasons why Icky's having kind of a bounce back season here.
And it
Um,
very well could be
yeah.
because when you can, from what I've heard, I mean, I've never played, I'm 5'7", I would never play offensive line. From what I've heard is that the offensive line plays better when they trust the guy next to them, that they don't
Mhm.
feel like they know what they're going to do. So therefore, like, it could be that. It could be that Icky feels Damian Lewis is going to be in the right spot. He doesn't have
Mhm.
to overshadow him or anything else. So I don't know.
I'm hopefully he's got some confidence from these first few weeks. Where
Yeah.
the whole line's playing very well. I think I saw they were ranked fifth in the league in terms of offensive line play. So hopefully that continues. But I feel like this is if he's out this week, and even if he's playing, but he's only 60-70%, like that's a that's a thing. That's a thing. But could be some help on the way, Jerry.
Yes. Dave Canales has said that Jonathan Brooks, DJ Wanham, Dane Jackson, and Amari Barno are in the final stages of returning from IR. That doesn't help the O line, but it'll help the rest of the
Doesn't help
team
the
a
O line.
lot.
And those are, I mean, I feel like outside of maybe Jonathan Brooks, all of those other positions are going to be really welcome, right?
Yeah.
I mean, now Mike Jackson has played really well, and if it was me making the decisions, I would let him continue to play, as many snaps as he's playing, and just have Dane Jackson kind of work his way back, gradually, right? Give him a little bit of time because Mike Jackson's playing very well.
Yeah, Mike
Um,
Jackson is the 29th ranked PFF grade for all corners.
top
Uh,
30.
JC Horn is 55.
Oh yeah, well, that's interesting. Um, that's interesting. I would think that
I
I would
just
think
wanted to
Horn.
call it out.
Yeah, I know you're not like bashing Horn or anything, but I would think that he would be higher. I think he's played very well,
Eh,
especially against some of the top tier receivers.
I think that's the problem is he's played some top tier receivers and he's made mistakes this
Now he's going to
season
get
more
another
than
one
he
this week.
has.
He's going to get another one this week. I hope he's up to the challenge. And then Wanham, like that's a huge one. Like if that guy can be what he was last year
Mm-hmm.
for Minnesota, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's a huge bump for that defensive line for that pass rush. I mean, that gives us what we need, right?
Yeah, I mean, at least
Hopefully.
and Barno,
And Barno
I've
too,
always
good,
liked
just good
Barno,
depth.
his
Yeah,
speed and everything else. I kind of
as a
always
change of
felt,
pace guy, like he could be really helpful.
yeah. Again, that dude, I think he ran like a 4.2 as a edge
Yeah,
rusher, something like
good
that.
ath-
He was
great athlete. Yeah.
so, and he looked good in his little sparing times.
When he's had opportunity, yeah. Again, another guy that just when he's out there seems to show something, but just they don't put him out there a lot.
I
So
don't know if like this
I
guy
don't
like
know.
flips off coaches. Like it's him and Leota, same thing. Like, are they just that awful in the run game?
Maybe,
I
maybe.
mean,
Again, we're not head coaches. Like we don't
yeah,
evaluate like that, right? We see sack, we go, yay. But outside of that,
Oh, that
kind of
should be
hard.
a T-shirt. We see sack, we say yay.
Hey. All right, let's talk some Panthers Bengals here. All right,
Yeah.
let's talk Panthers Bengals, and as we start our preview here, we have something very special that Jerry and I are doing this year. Jerry, take it away.
Yes. We have, instead of our beer bets this week, we are gambling for the children.
For the children.
Every week, we put a financial bet on the game. If we win, it goes into a pile. And at the end of the year, the pile goes to St. Jude's Children's Hospital. So we're gambling for the children, people. Let's win these bucks.
It's for the kids.
It's for the kids. Nothing else.
It's for the kids. You know, um, when I think of children, I often think gambling.
Yeah, me too.
You know,
I'm
it's
very
for the
excited.
kids.
I'm very
Yeah.
excited.
Every in a father's life, Jerry, and you know this. That the most special day is when you get to take your child to the casino for the first time.
I have yet to do that, but I'm very looking forward to it.
I know it's a special day, but it's for the kids. All right, so what are our options here, Jerry? Because you had mentioned kind of before we started this that you didn't love maybe the line, and that the line is Bengals by 4.5 in Carolina. That's a big line.
That's a big line, but I mean, it's fair. It's fair. Like at the beginning
Sure.
of the season, like
An 0-3 team.
yeah,
Okay, coming into the place of a team that seems to be turning things around. Getting 4.5 points is something.
it is
That's
something.
Not a lot of faith in the Panthers in Vegas,
No, and the over under is 47. I just
which is
don't-
high, right?
Yeah, for a Panthers game, very high.
Yeah, I can't remember a time that the Panthers have had a line that big.
I
Dalton
don't
bump.
know what this Panther team's gonna do, so I don't like those.
Bengals heavy favorites too, like minus 205 in the money line. Yeah, I if I was gonna take the over under, I'd probably go over. Right? I think the Panthers have a good chance of scoring 30, and the Bengals, like I said, the Bengals offense is capable of putting up a lot of points.
Oh yeah, I mean that
I
that
could
offense,
easily see this being a 31-28 type game.
Okay.
But I'm not super confident about it. So let's look at maybe some of the props. What do you think?
Yeah, that's kind of what I was gonna lean on. I was gonna lean on props. I think that's where the best chance at getting money for the kids is gonna be.
Yeah, it's for the kids.
Andy Dalton, over 175 is negative 525. I mean, let's not go there. Let's
No.
look at
I'd like to stay, I mean, in the hundreds, like minus or plus. Like I'd
Okay,
like to stay around there.
I agree. So we're gonna look at 225 or 250 yards for Andy Dalton. And honestly, the Cincinnati Bengals have a really good secondary.
Yeah.
So I just don't know. I don't know. I want to say, oh yeah, Dalton can easily throw for 225, but you never know how that game's gonna go.
Yeah. I mean, I would err on the side of yes over 225 because I think you got two ways that this game can go where he can get that, right? One is the Bengals jump out to an early lead and you're forced to throw. Dalton will throw for 300 yards if they make him throw 40 times, right? He will get 300 yards. He might throw 3 interceptions, but he's going to get 300 yards. And then two, just if the offense is flowing like it was last week. I mean, he threw for almost 320.
So you think
in a blowout win.
okay? So we're gonna pencil in 225, 250 passing
We'll
yards.
think about that.
Joe Burrow, we're not gonna bet against the Panthers, so we're just gonna
course
scroll
not.
down.
What's minus under 200 yards is minus 575.
Yeah.
That's maybe you throw $5 on that. All right, moving on.
Andy Dalton passing touchdowns +1. It would be +2.
Let's look at Chuba. I'm curious about Chuba.
This is the fun one I'm looking at. Chuba, again, people don't realize +60 yards is negative 125. Plus 70 yards jumps to plus 135. That's a lot. But here's the
What?
one.
So we hold on. We did 60 last week. Do
Hmm.
you remember what it was last week? Was it plus last week?
Yeah,
Over
it was.
60? I feel like it was. I think it was like plus 120 or something.
Yeah, it was.
So a little bit more respect.
Well, I mean, he had a 100-yard game. I mean, that
I'm
makes
saying,
sense.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Right. He's earned a
So,
little more respect. Yep.
but here's where I like it.
Hmm.
Rush plus receiving yards. You could go plus 75 and get a negative 165 on that.
Plus 100 is plus 80.
Yeah?
Thielen's out.
Yeah? And I like this bet because, knock on wood, if the
Hmm.
Panthers go behind, Chuba's still going to get that ball in the backfield. He's shown that he is able to catch the ball out of the backfield this year better than he did his first season, couple
Right.
seasons. And he looks really good. And they have a weak run defense. So I
And,
think that's very gettable.
and I think that the running back is a big part of Canales' passing system.
I do too.
And they haven't been able to get into it yet until this past week. Plus 150 is, or 150 plus is plus 1200. He had that last week.
Mm-hmm.
Plus 1200. And folks, that's if you bet $100, you win $1,200.
We will not be doing that.
No,
There's
of
not.
course
No.
not. But if we bet $10, we would get $120.
Yeah, but do we want to risk that?
What's
Again,
our
this is for
balance
the
right now?
kids.
What are the kids getting right now? What's the balance?
The balance is I think at 40, 42
40
something.
bucks. So I'd like a little taste on 125 plus rushing and receiving yards. That's plus 475. That feels doable. A little taste.
So,
$5.
$5 on 125. Is that what you're wanting?
$5 on rushing plus receiving yards at 125 plus.
It's okay. I'll mark it
All right.
down.
So five on that, and then put some on Dalton passing yards.
Dalton passing yard. Okay, we'll
Yeah.
do 5 on each.
All right.
So, someone write this down. That's you, Steven, as it's just me and you.
I mean, you're putting it in the app, right?
No, I don't have the app up right now because
Oh,
I did this all earlier. So
I'll remember.
okay,
We got it. All right. And we're doing plus 225 or plus 250 passing yards.
well, it's for the kids. So let's go low. Let's make
Okay.
sure that
Plus
he gets it.
225. So
Yeah.
at least we're gonna hit one of these.
Yeah, that's the
Okay.
goal.
Sorry if that was too long of a gambling segment there.
We're just really excited for the kids.
We're just it's all for the kids. Also, I'm a degenerate. Although I didn't even bet last week. Kind of feel like I let myself down a little bit. All right, sorry for the white face. I just pulled up a very bright thing on my screen here.
All right, now we're gonna transition over to trivia. Something we haven't had in a while, mostly because it was so depressing the past few games, I guess, because
Years.
we've been horrible. But the Bengals and Panthers have met 7 different times. Any guess in the 30 years what the first year is that the Cincinnati Bengals played them?
Well, we've never played them in the postseason, obviously. 1999.
Yes,
99.
you are correct.
Hey, all right.
A Jeff Blake led Cincinnati Bengals team
I remember
took on a Steve Berline Carolina Panthers team and got their butts whooped 27-3. Now, a little bonus for you. Who do you think is winning the 7 games? Like, who has the advantage?
Honestly, I have no idea. I mean, the Bengals have not been a good franchise until fairly recently, right? So I'd go with the Panthers. I think
It
the
is
Panthers
dead
probably.
even at 7
Okay.
games, 3-3-1.
That's right, the tie.
I thought that was fun. I thought that was fun with the
tie.
7.
Yeah. Man, do you remember that game?
Oh, yeah.
What a
And
game.
that put us in the playoffs, if you remember correctly,
I do
because we
remember.
tied.
7-8-1 that season.
Yeah.
What a game that was. That was a weird game.
It was like,
A
Ron
really
Rivera,
weird
what are
game.
you doing? Go for the win. Come to
Yes.
find out, that put us in the playoffs.
Yep. Man. What a season that was. All right. Good trivia. Good trivia. We'll start doing that again. Now that we're not depressed anymore. Okay. So let's go to the injury reports here.
All right.
For the Panthers, it is unfortunately a list with quite a few important players on it. So we're gonna start with we'll get these guys out of the way. Clowney, Chuba, and Taylor Moton all out today, not injury related, just for rest. So those guys are good. They're gonna play, no problems. The one that I was very, very concerned about when I heard he did not practice today, Deontay Johnson. Now the initial report was a groin, um, but he said when interviewed that he was fine. Yeah, tweaked it a little bit, didn't want to play out there in those conditions. I have a feeling he just didn't want to practice in the rain. And if
I
he's
mean,
a, obviously they're not going to practice outside tomorrow, but I bet he's full practice before the game.
yeah, and they also have that turf, and it's very slick when it's rained on, so that
Oh
does
yeah,
make sense.
I saw
So,
that. Yeah, I saw. I think it was. Can't remember what reporter it was, but basically it was like, yeah, if it was me, I wouldn't want to practice out there on that field in those conditions either.
yeah, I mean, you
Yeah,
got a groin injury. It just takes, one misstep or a
groin
cut that.
injury. I don't. I think he's fine.
Okay, I'm I'm
My
I'm gonna
hot
believe
take
him.
is Dante Johnson. Deontay Johnson is just fine.
I mean, as long as he doesn't go to a Deshaun Watson's masseuse to get it fixed,
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
mean,
Yeah.
I'm fine. If you want to take a day off of practice when it's monsoon season, that's fine.
Yeah. Agreed. And yeah, he said that he was fine. No question he was playing Saturday. So Sunday. So good. Other DNPs here, Lonnie Johnson, corner with a hip injury. Damian Lewis, as we discussed earlier. Shy Tuttle did not practice today. So hopefully those guys get back soon. Um, we've got Ashawn Robinson, limited practice. Again, that middle interior line, like that's
Yeah, that D line is getting
uh,
decimated by injuries.
yeah. And Nick Scott, safety, limited practice. I think he,
He's probably going to start.
yeah, I imagine he will. Yeah, hopefully he's going to be all right. And I think that's everybody, right? I think I
Hmm.
didn't miss anybody there. For Cincinnati, Joe Bacci, full practice, but on the report. Trent Brown, offensive tackle, did not practice with a knee.
That's big.
Big, big there. Burrow's on the report every week, but he's fine. Jamar Chase with a shoulder. Limited practice yesterday, back to full today, so he'll be fine. Trey Hendrickson, BJ Hill, Tanner Hudson, Sheldon Rankins, all DNPs.
Those are big too. Like
Yeah,
BJ Hill, Trey Hendrickson, Sheldon
yeah.
Rankins. I mean, I just said our D line is decimated. I mean, geez, so are they.
Yeah, and then Hendrickson's listed with an illness, so imagine he'll probably be okay by then. Depending, I guess, depends on what the illness is. If it's
Yeah, I mean,
COVID
if
or
it's
something, he
COVID or something,
may not be able to play. Yeah. I wonder what is the COVID protocol now
I don't
within
know.
the NFL. I don't know either. You never hear about it anymore. Um, huh. So yeah, that's it. That's the injury reports. So could always be worse, I guess, but definitely could be better.
All right, now we are going to go to keys to victory for the Carolina Panthers. I'm going to start it off here with something I repeat over and over and over. Run the ball. Cincinnati gives up 142 yards on the ground per game in the first 3 games. Their D line is decimated, like we just said. Chuba Hubbard looks like he's ready to break out. Give him the ball. Give him the ball. Run it down their throats. Keep this game close. That number one on my list.
Yeah, agree. I mean that it does so many things, right? It wears out the defense, especially the defensive line. Uh, eats up the clock, and it gives you more options in the passing game.
Yeah.
I mean, run the ball. You know, Chuba has shown he can be the guy, right? He can be a 3 down back in this league. Feed him. Continue to bring in Miles Sanders. I do think he still gives you something. If nothing else, a rest for Chuba, right? But yeah, run the ball. I'd like to see 30 runs in this game.
Me too, 100%. Especially because the field conditions are not going to be great. It's still going to be wet and everything else, even if it's not
Probably, yeah.
raining and stuff here in Carolina. So, I mean,
Yeah,
we
I think
have
the
a.
field will probably be okay. Is it supposed to rain Sunday?
I don't know, but I know it's supposed to nonstop rain for the next 2-3 days or 2 days.
Yeah, but I mean, if they have 24 hours, that field will be fine. No, it's not going to rain Sunday. I think the field's going to be fine, but either way, like they should run the ball. Like, run the ball if the field's fine. Run the ball if the field's wet.
The goal
If
is
they can't,
run the ball.
yeah, run the ball. On defense, the Panthers got to figure out how to slow down that passing game of the Bengals. Joe Burrow, when he goes deep, as you right here, 14 to 28 with 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions of passes, 10 yards or more. That's kind of a lower percentage than I was expecting.
It is lower percentage, but yeah, he's very accurate. Like it's only 50%, but it does seem like he throws it away too whenever he doesn't get it. And I was like looking at his stats, and I was like, man, that's where he gets you. He gets you because he lulls you to sleep with. And I say gets you. I mean, Joe Burrow's a top tier quarterback. Not knocking him. I wish he was here. Like,
Of course, yeah, he's great.
But I was like looking at his like depth of passes and everything. It's really kind of impressive. Like it's very right in the middle, right down low, like 0 to 10, and then he sporadically goes higher, but it's really the occasional deep ball that can get you.
Yeah,
And Jamar Chase is just a freak.
That's what I was going to say. I mean, the Chase Burrow connection goes back before the NFL, right? They got those guys, and that's been special in the NFL. Jamar Chase, a top tier receiver in the league. Both of those guys, if you can shut down the passing game, you're going to have to take Chase out as much as possible. I expect J.C. Horn to do a pretty good job of that. That's what he does, right? He limits number 1 receivers.
Yeah, and Mike Jackson, you're going to have your hands fall with T. Higgins.
Yep.
I mean,
this is a good offense, man.
Again, they were Super Bowl contenders. Like it's not a crazy Dallas Cowboys Super Bowl contenders. I mean, they actually had a good team that expected. I got to throw a jab in every time I can.
Yeah, they're not fake good like the Cowboys. I question their running backs a bit.
Oh yeah, their run game
Zach
is
Moss.
not good.
Yeah. And then Chase Brown.
Honestly,
this guy.
I hate saying this because the Bengals are a lot better than the Raiders, but it does seem like they're a very similar team going into this game offensively, the way the Raiders were playing coming into last week as well.
Yeah, I would say more just so we don't get comments. That the way you scheme for them on defense is very similar.
Yes.
Would that be a better way of saying it?
Yes.
Yeah. They also have their tight end I like, Gesicki.
Oh yeah, he's been
he was really
good
in Miami, and I just like him. I was kind of hoping the Panthers would have taken him. It was a couple of years ago now. So, but either way, yeah, they have weapons all over the offense, and but shutting down the passing game is going to be the most important because, like we said, I don't think the run game's too scary.
No, and even with our defensive line having the injuries, even struggling a little bit against the run, I think they could keep it in check. It's Burrow, Chase, and Gesicki, Higgins. I mean, it feels like a weird law firm, but they're
Yeah.
good, and it's just they're good. It's not much else you could say. It's not like gimmicky or anything else. They're all really good players that they can make it work.
Yeah, it's very strange that they're 0-3. I mean, it kind of feels fluky
Yeah.
for that team, right? But I'm gonna go ahead and move on to our next key. I'm gonna look something up real quick.
Um, Speaking of all the weapons Cincinnati has, Carolina needs a receiver to step up in Adam Thielen's absence. I know Andy Dalton spread the ball around, but you need somebody to at least garner wide receiver 2 attention. Deontay Johnson's going to already get his fill after last week. So I'm looking for somebody to show up, whether it's Mingo, Coker, Leggett, one of you guys show up, ball out, make us feel okay that Thielen's out. Because right now, Thielen is that safety blanket. Hey, Jatavion Sanders, Tommy Trimble, you guys can do it too. I am not knocking you guys out. Like, if there's an opportunity, I want you to take it. I don't want to see drop passes. I don't want to see you blocking a left tackle. I don't want... Play smart, guys. Like, take the opportunities that's now provided and show what you can do on the NFL level.
Yeah. And by the way, I watched a bunch of tape from last week for Andy Dalton. And I watched some of the blocking that Jatavion Sanders was doing. He did a really, really good job on a lot of the snaps and blocking. A couple mistakes here and there. I think he completely missed an assignment once, but there were some really good blocks in there. So that's a part of his game that I was not expecting to see improve so early.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he's got an opportunity to be a pretty good blocking tight end in this league. So I just wanted to give that a shout out. But yeah, I hope it's Leggett, right? I hope Leggett is the one to make a few big plays and make you think, maybe Deontay's not the number one on this team. Like by the end of the year, we're thinking that. I think that's a really good sign.
No, I 100%, and I agree. That's who I really want to see show out. And he flashed last week. Yeah, he had that non-touchdown that, he needs to get both feet in, but that's a rookie mistake. That's not
2-point conversion.
Or sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
But that's okay. That's good. He flashed a little bit. I want to see him continue to grow. That would be the best case scenario for this team.
Yeah, one of the guys I was watching showed that Jatavion Sanders' 2-point attempt, and if Sanders wouldn't have jumped to catch the ball, it would have been a very easy inbound play. But for some reason, he jumped and he caught the ball like here. It's like you did not need to jump. But again, like you said, I think that's just a thing that he's just gonna have to learn. Yeah. Maybe he just doesn't have a good feel of the end zone. I don't know.
Maybe he's a big fan of crisscross. We don't know.
He didn't catch a lot of touchdowns in college. I will say that.
Was that reference too old for you?
What was the reference?
Crisscross.
No, I know crisscross. I'm only like 2 years younger than you, Jerry.
Well, you didn't even chuckle. I was like, come on, the jump reference?
I remember my sister wanted to wear her clothes backwards when we were growing up.
Oh, yeah.
And having the crisscross CDs and everything. Yeah. Yeah, I remember crisscross.
Okay.
I made mixtapes, Jerry. Okay. I'm of that era. Real quick, before we move on, the Bengals so far, they lost to the Patriots at home in week 1, 16-10. What a strange game for the Bengals.
Mm-hmm.
Then they play the Chiefs at Arrowhead and lose 26-25 in that really good game. And last week they play the Commanders again at home and lose 38-33. So their offense has gotten better every single week. Their defense has gotten much worse every single week.
Well, Jamar Chase didn't go to training camp or anything else, and he only played a limited snaps in the first game, so they were probably getting him more acclimated to football shape. Jaden Daniels last week, oh my God, dude. Oh.
That guy. Yeah. I like, maybe the Commanders are good.
I was thinking they got a quarterback. If he could stay healthy, Wow.
And that's kind of that's the thing, right? Like he's going to be really good. Last year, CJ Stroud, really good. You know, neither one of them in the number one pick. So
Nope.
you can kind of get him. But yeah, I like him a lot. I mean, he's
I
fun.
was worried coming out of college. I was if he was just a flash and pan or something like that. I do
Hmm.
worry about his durability with his running style.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, he's
Uh,
got the same kind of, he reminds me a lot of RG3.
Me too, but
Yeah.
talent wise, that
Yeah.
pass he threw, that drop in the bucket,
Hmm.
oh, that was a
Yeah.
beautiful pass. Like,
Yeah. He's excellent. Yeah. Um, yeah. I mean, I think that feels good as far as keys of the game. I mean, pass rush, obviously, you hope that they can be kind of productive. I think they were pretty good last week.
yeah,
You know, some of these injuries, you know, Trent Brown, like if he doesn't play, that's that's good for us, right? Like that is one less really good blocker. Um, but somebody opposite Clowney, like we need to see somebody kind of take hold of that until Wanham can get healthy.
yeah, and it could fall on the secondary too. You got coverage sacks are
Hmm.
real. I mean,
Oh yeah,
I think last week we had a couple coverage sacks. Like that
yeah,
was a big thing.
yeah.
So, all right.
Agreed.
Now, the time everybody wants to know what our predictions will be wrong. Um,
Mm,
I'll let you kick it off with your big, bold
my
prediction.
big bold prediction. Um, yeah, I think I kind of talked about it earlier. I'm going Chuba this week. I feel like one of us has gone Chuba every week. I'm going to go Chuba this week. I think he is going to have over 150 receiving and rushing yards combined.
I
I
hope
think
so.
he's going to have another excellent game.
I do too. I think he is going to have a really good game. That being said, my bold prediction is Xavier Leggett goes over 100 yards in
Ooh,
his first starting game. He is going
that's
to hold on
bold.
to that number two spot, and Thielen's gonna come back to the slot and play less. Not
Hmm.
saying not a lot, but
Right. I
so
like it. That's bold.
yeah.
Yeah, I just wonder if after last week they saw that Chuba was a reliable receiver and maybe run more plays for him in the
Hmm.
receiving game. I think that would be great. Yeah. All right, game predictions, Jerry. You're up.
Oh, guys, I hate doing this. I think the Bengals take it 31-24. I think I think Burrow is just gonna carve up our secondary. I hate saying it like that, but without the pass rush, I think he's gonna pick them apart. I mean, I hope I'm wrong. I think that they'll keep him in front of them for the most part, but I think one or two will get past him, and I just don't think the pass rush could get to him in time for a majority of it.
Yeah. I've been going back and forth really because my heart wants to pick the Panthers, right? But my
Mm-hmm.
head says this is one week. You know, Bengals are a much better team than the Raiders. But then I'm like, but we're home and we've got momentum. And they seem to have figured something out on offense. And the defense looked really good last week. And is that the first week of what this team is now? And I choose to believe right now that it is. I think the Panthers will win this game 35-28. Panthers.
And I will say, I am worried that they had that. There's a thing in soccer where they get a new coach or something like that, or a new
Yeah.
manager, where they get a manager bump or a new
Yeah. New
quarterback bump.
quarterback bump. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for goodness sake, when Jeff Saturday took over the Colts that one year, he won that game, and
Yeah.
then he lost every other game. So there it is a real factor.
New yeah, I feel like new coach bump maybe even more so than new quarterback bump. just because I think this is what the offense was supposed to be, and Dalton is just able to run it.
I hope so. I really hope so. I'm
Yeah.
very hopeful that we see something similar. Even if they lose,
We're gonna find out. Like,
yeah.
we're gonna find out in a couple of days which one of us is right.
Yeah. I mean, even if they lose, if they look competent on
Mm-hmm.
offense, I'm going to be glowing. Like,
Oh
not
yeah.
glowing, but I'm going to be very excited because I feel like the future is not
There
doom
are
and gloom.
wins. There are multiple wins in our future if that's the case. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because Evero, I think, could get the defense, even with this ragtag group that are
Mm-hmm.
claimed off waiver wires. I think he's going to get them to be decent.
Yeah. I mean, they look good last week. I think a lot of it's going to depend on the offense. Like, manage the clock, has sustained long drives, don't
Mm-hmm.
play mistake-free football. Right? That's going to help the defense so much. But yeah, I mean, we're going to see. So, all right, let's go. I like it.
Last, quickly, around the NFC South games, New Orleans at Atlanta. That'll be kind of a fun game to watch. See who could.
I mean, Panthers win, they move up past somebody.
Yeah. And the other one, Philadelphia at Tampa Bay. Um, that would both of those games are
I
pretty
think
fun
both of
to
those are
watch.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, do you, in the NFC South, are you thinking? I mean, all three of those teams, it feels like, have a good shot at it. I don't know that. I mean, New Orleans certainly has looked the best so far, but I feel like Atlanta kind of came on a bit last week, and Tampa,
And New
started off
Orleans
pretty strong.
struggled last week,
Yeah.
and Tampa Bay did too. So I mean, it's really kind of an interesting
Yeah.
division. I mean, there's no front runner. Like you said, I think New Orleans still gets that peg just because
Mm-hmm.
they look so dominant against
They,
us in week one. Like,
yeah, and they
in
look
week,
dominant in week 2 against the
yeah,
Cowboys too. I mean, they have been very impressive for the most part. Um, yeah, I mean, if the Panthers can get back in this race, this could actually be a very, very competitive division.
yeah. Now
Yeah.
it wouldn't have a Super Bowl contender out of it, but
Probably not, but it'd be a lot of fun.
yeah.
It'd be a lot of fun to be part of, honestly. Like I hope that we get invited to the party.
Can we RSVP,
Yeah.
please?
Can we play with you guys?
Oh
I
man,
love
we're the
it,
little
man.
brothers right now.
Yeah.
Any last thoughts before signing off?
No, I mean, just that this is fun again. Like, I'm really looking forward to this game.
I know. I mean, I did the
I
outline
was
again
looking forward to this podcast. Like, yeah, I know. Like, I could tell Jerry was excited about it. Like, it's good to be a Panthers fan today.
today. Yeah, like
Yeah.
I stopped doing trivia and all that. It was just hard to look up and remember glory
Yeah.
days when you just are looking straight in mud. So.
Yeah. Yeah. It's good to be back.
Yep. We want to thank everyone for listening. If you like the show, please let your friends know. Please follow us on Twitter at MeowMakesPodcast. If you have any questions or comments, you can email us at mailbag@meowmakespodcast.com. If you leave us a 5-star review with a comment on Apple Podcasts, we'll read it on the show. Please like and subscribe on YouTube.
Yeah, we'll be back after the game Sunday. Probably live. I think we'll try that
Yeah, I'm
this
going to
time.
try. I have a 5-year-old's birthday party, but I might skip it to
Oh,
watch the game.
oh,
I think
well.
I got approval from Sylvia to do that, even though it's Evelyn's best friend.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry that you're gonna have to miss that, Jerry. I know you were really looking forward to it, but perhaps you could watch football instead.
Maybe if I get the clearance from the wife that it's okay.
All right. Well, until then, everybody, stay safe out there. Stay safe this weekend, by the way. Lots of
Make sure
rain
you're
probably
registered to
coming.
vote too.
And yes, make sure you're registered to vote. Thank you for doing your civic duty, Jerry. Keep pounding.